Awesome. Well, welcome to the June On Track podcast. We're really excited that you joined us today, this evening. We've got four special guests that we're going to introduce and have a conversation with and share what's going on in their lives. But in the chat, if you would just, send us a little message, where are you? What state are you in? I love when the chat is engaging and we can talk in there. Tell us if you're a learning coach. I think our ambassadors will recognize you if you're a learning coach. Tell us if you're a parent or a student, what grade you'll be going into. Awesome. Well, welcome, Ashley. It's really nice to see you here. I know that you have had a great impact on all students at On Track, high school English. Awesome. And we have Caden Hearns from Arizona. Welcome, Caden. So feel free to use that chat and we will get to a point where we have some Q&A towards the end. So with that, we will go ahead and get started. So we really thought that June would be a great month to bring back some of our graduates that were On Track ambassadors. And for those of you who maybe don't know what an ambassador at On Track is, that's somebody that's chosen, they apply for this position. We look at their grades, we look at their commitment, we look to see if they're walking the walk and talking the talk, meaning that they can go out into the world wherever they are and people can look at them and say, that person stands out. They're well-spoken, they're nice to other people, they're kind, right? All those things, those core values that mean so much. So with us today, we've got Brighton Richards, Meghan Gagnon, Casey Cochran, and Caden Braswell. They have all graduated. Some of them graduated ahead of time because that same commitment that they bring to being an ambassador, they brought to being a student at On Track. So I'm excited because this is my jam. I get to talk to, students that were ambassadors for us. And so we're just going to start. I'm going to start here with Meghan, and I'm going to ask each ambassador to introduce themselves and give us a little idea of what you're doing right now in your life. Go ahead, Meghan.
Well, hi. I hope everyone's good, and thank you so much for the opportunity. Um, as some of you know, I was a racer myself, and I graduated from On Track in 2024 already. Oh gosh. And I'm really thankful for On Track because of the flexibility. It allowed me to really do school anywhere, and I was able to do it whether I was at a race or at a training facility. And that's actually where I came up with I saw a problem and I'm like, oh, how can I fix it? How can I help the athletes, And so basically, like, we train so hard every single day at the track, and when it's time to eat, we just grab whatever's out of the fridge, and it's not necessarily always the best. And same at Loretta's and Minio's when they come with the funnel cakes and the fried Oreos. I mean, it's great traction, don't get me wrong, but you won't last the whole moto, that's for sure. So I figured I'd start meal prepping, and that's where I came with the idea of Peak Pro Meals, the business I'm currently running. So that's where it all started with On Track, and seeing that the flexibility really allowed me to do anything. So yeah.
That's so exciting. I am so happy that we're talking about possibly, and we'll get into it more later, having you do something at Loretta's, because when I first went there with a child that we took training and worked so hard to compete and saw the sign about the funnel cakes and the chicken fried steak, I was thinking, there's something wrong here.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Okay.
It'll help on the start with traction, but that's about it.
That's about it. And then you're going to crash and burn. Well, thanks, Meghan. Thank you so much for being here. And how about you, Brighton? What's going on with you these days? Oh, you're on mute. You'll get it. There you go.
So I used to race also. On Track gave me the flexibility to be able to use from wherever I graduated early. And then out of 22, I think, was my last race. And on the way home, my dad and I decided that we were going to start a roofing company, and that's what I've been doing ever since then.
Awesome. Look at that. We've got two entrepreneur women in the house. Oh, sorry, three. Me too. And Caden, what's going on with you?
Well, hey, it's been a blessing just to be invited into this, and I graduated in 2022, so 3 years ago. Wow,
Yeah.
it's been I'm a blessed mess. Not gonna lie, God has been good. I got to do some racing at the pro level for a while, and I really enjoyed that. But I knew that just wasn't where I needed to be. It was quite convicting realization being up there and with the people you surround yourself with, seeing your family day in and day out, just that relationship with them. I think just felt like I was called for more as far as being able to serve others. And so I went to school to learn more about those convictions, learn more about Jesus. And I'm on a current career path to become a chaplain, but that would be more of like a fun kind of thing, just
Hmm.
ultimately wanting to work and be the hands and feet of God. Racing when it's financially responsible, because that has a big play in it. Dirt bikes are not cheap, but still so much fun. Love to go ride here and there. And really, I think the biggest thing I learned through On Track was resiliency. We had a core class that lasted about 2 weeks on resiliency. Miss Ashley Williams was the teacher who got me through school. She was absolutely amazing. So thankful for her. Um, but just with the storms of life, like you never know what tomorrow is going to bring. Being able to hold on to something, and for me that was Jesus. But to keep on walking forward, keep on pushing forward, and times get better, the storms go away, but ultimately just super blessed and knowing that whatever the day brings, we gonna bring it right on with it.
Well, I love that. Oh my gosh. I start my day with 20 minutes of the Bible app and the scripture plans and, all the things. And without that, there's nothing. So that's amazing that you were called to do that. And I know that you are going to change a lot of lives. I mean, I'm lucky. We're all lucky if we can change one life. I just know you're going to change a lot of lives. I just know that. So that's very cool. Thanks, Caden. Thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. How about you, Casey? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm Casey, and I graduated in 2023, which was actually a year early than I was supposed to. So I'm super thankful to be able to do that and set the focus after that on my professional racing career. And I'm currently still in that and racing professionally in Supercross and motocross. So yeah, just chasing the dream currently and putting my life's work into it. So I've enjoyed it so far, and hopefully just can continue on the career I've made so far.
Very good. Very good. It's fun watching that. And it's fun, Caden mentioned the word resilience. And I think that you all have that in common. I take some notes during these things as things pop out at me. And I think resilience is so important to keep that journey going, no matter what path, right? What track you're on. So what, if anything, and hopefully something, did it mean for you to be an on track ambassador? When you look back at it, I mean, then it might have been, oh, this is cool. I've got this scholarship and this and that. But when you look back on it, what did it mean to you? Or, what was something that stands out to you about when you were an ambassador? Whoever wants to go first.
I can go first. And looking back now, I'm extremely humbled and grateful for the opportunity because, to be honest, when I first got sponsored by OnTrack, I wasn't exactly excited about continuing my schoolwork. It was something my mom was like, "You're gonna graduate high school," and I'm like, "Mom, I'm gonna be a pro racer. I don't need school." But looking back, I am so thankful for those tough mornings where my trainer Justin was on me, like, "Hey, you got to get on your schoolwork before you go ride," or um, Miss Ashley, like sitting there and solving problems with me and helping me get along with it. Because now that I'm not racing, I mean, I need every little bit of it. And sometimes I'm like, man, if I would have just studied a little bit more. But the opportunity to have that, because I wouldn't have been able to do on track without the ambassador scholarship. Um, so I'm very, very humbled and grateful for it. Humbled in the sense of I might not have wanted to do it at first, but looking back, I'm super thankful that I did.
That's cool. And I'm so glad to hear that you've continued your journey in education and have that passion. So good deal. And we're glad to do that. Listen, when we were traveling with Michael and racing, I gotta be honest with you, we couldn't have afforded private school. We really couldn't because we weren't sponsored and we did have to buy bikes and we did had to pay for it. So I get it. We were sponsored later in different things and he went on to do great things over in Europe. And there does come a point, in racing where, you make hard decisions about when it's time to do something else. So I'm glad that that meant that much to you, Caden. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else?
I can go. No, I'm very grateful and thankful to be a part of the ambassador program. I know with how busy and messy it can be as a racer, as an amateur and a kid, how much traveling and a lot of things get in the way. And having the opportunity that you guys provide is just I truly don't think I would be where I am today in my career and my education without you guys. So it's a very great opportunity, and I'm very thankful to be an ambassador and support such a great group of people that put this whole thing together and to be a part of it. So yeah, just very thankful.
Well, that's very cool, Casey. I know it's kind of weird. I don't want you guys to feel like you have to say all these wonderful things, but it is really nice to hear. So thank you for sharing that. Megan or Brighton, you have anything to add
Yeah,
to that?
I
Go.
can go. I'm very grateful that I get the chance to be an ambassador because, for me at least, it allowed me to keep racing because I know for my mom and for me too, school was always like super important and I needed good grades, otherwise I couldn't race. And I guess I'm super thankful I got the opportunity to be an ambassador because it really allowed me to keep racing and practicing. So yeah.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you. How about you, Brighton?
Um, it gave me the opportunity to get to know the people that I raced with, like Megan. It gave me like a social environment to like the people that was at the track and even like working on school projects together, like stuff like that. It was nice to have that social, like as if you were going to a school.
That's cool. That brings a whole different aspect to it. And I think that's important because everybody, one of the number one things psychologically that we all need as human beings, no matter what path we're on, is a sense of belonging. So I think that's really great that you felt that because we want every student out on track to feel that way. But it's great that the ambassadors had that moment to connect. Listening to the years that you've all graduated, I'm like, oh my gosh, where's the time going? It's insane. And now we're like getting ready for graduation of the class of 25 in 4 short weeks. Oh my gosh, or 5. Um, so now let's fast forward where you are now. And, I've heard the word resiliency. I've heard the, word connection. I've heard the word great, grateful, honored, blessed. I've heard flexible. We always want to make our ambassador program better, and have an impact so that even after you graduate, if you needed a sense of connection, you can connect with each other because I think that's important, right? You had this group of people and now you're out there in the world. And wouldn't it be cool? I don't know, maybe it's just me, but wouldn't it be cool to like be able to connect with other ambassadors again? I mean, how do you guys feel about that? And be honest, this isn't a test.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool idea with especially people that have gone through the same experience as you, and you guys are gonna have similarities and stuff in common, and you went through the same program. So I think it's cool to have someone to reach out to just talk about anything in life, and someone that will share some of the same values as you.
Yeah. I think it's important too, because no matter what path you're on, you know, lots of places around the country, students graduate high school and that's it. But wouldn't it be cool to just have this network, of people that understand? Because we've gone through the John Maxwell program together, right? We talked about leadership and hopefully we grew leadership. And so being able to have those connections, I think is super important. So yeah, thank you, Casey, for that. I appreciate that. I've spoken to, we're having a whole part 2 to this in August, because, Evan Ferry and Jordan Renfro and Katie Benson and, forgive me for not remembering all the names, but they really want to be connected. So we have to start thinking about what that looks like. And for me, I think that comes from the group. I don't think I create what that looks like. I think some of you create what that looks like, and maybe we share ideas and see where we can go with that. So anybody else about, how you feel about continuing a group like that?
I think it's a good idea also with like Loretta's coming up. If anyone is going, like you could always reach out and say hi to them at the races, or if anyone's going to Minios or any of the races coming up.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I know when we were going to Minios and we now have a homecoming dance, right? And then we still have our prom. That how do we get everybody connected to those things when we have these age limits? Maybe we have a whole nother alumni night, or do something like that. So yeah, that's a great idea to use the events that we are going to. I like that. Any other ideas on that? Are we good? All right, let's go on to the next thing. So I think I've heard about how it helped you personally and professionally. When you look at your future goals and where you want your journey to go next, let's talk about that. I know Brighton's in her own business with her dad. Meghan just started her own business and she's like full of excitement. Casey's continuing his racing career, and Caden's looking to become a chaplain, do the work of Jesus, which, oh my gosh, that's amazing. So let's hear about where your future goals will take you, or where you want them to take you. Like, I'm not asking you what you want to be when you grow up. I'm just saying, what's the next future thing? Where do you want this to end up? Let's say 2, 3, 5 years. Where do you want to be? I'm going to call on you, Caden.
Ideally, I think it would be awesome to be able to give back in the ways that I was taught and learned. I think there's so much problem solving capabilities in just the homeschool program. I mean, with us also traveling around the country, the community for that is evident. Like, it is hard to get through life without some community. Isolated, you don't make it very far. And so to have that community and to be able to give back, I think would be absolutely amazing. Really just looking forward in the future to being able to be in a spot where I can give back and teach what I've learned.
That's very cool. And that's actually was one of my next questions was, have you thought about how you can continue to be an ambassador as a mentor role, to the up and coming youth, whether they're riders, whether they're young people that or whether it's at On Track. I think that's really cool to give back, because that's where it gets really fun. When you can give back, it just, you get more than you think when you give. Did you know that? Have you found that at all? Like, I've always told my kids, when it's time to give somebody a gift, or it's on your heart to give somebody a gift, it's always so special to give what you want. It's hard, right? You're looking at this thing that you want. Maybe it's something you already have and you give it, and then you have this grateful feeling about it. So yeah, giving back is cool. how about you, Meghan? Have you thought about, future goals? I know you are so full of enthusiasm. I spoke with you the other day, and it's just like when I started on track. You're so excited. And when you have that passion and that spark, you can go, this, right? You all know this. You can go as far as you want. You just have to see it.
For sure. I've always been the girl that has a goal, has to reach it, and then move on to the next one. But I feel for now my goal would really be to just grow as much as I can, and I feel like I can give back to athletes, and I think because I was one myself, it's easier to see where I was lacking, and then I can just help others like improve. And it's it's dirt bikes. You get injured. And if you don't prepare, whether it's mentally, physically, or with well eating, there's so many risks. And I feel like I can give back with the knowledge I have in the food section. So, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. The nutrition side of things. If I had to choose another thing, not that I can't do it simultaneously because I am still learning, it would be all about nutrition. I mean, every single thing, and you're all athletes at one point, right? Every single thing that you put in this God-given body determines so much. Well, so does your environment, so does your mental state, but nutrition is huge. So I think that is a great give back. And I'm excited to see what happens um, when we hopefully take some food orders, because I know I'll be a customer at Loretta's. I will not be eating the funnel cakes. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everybody out there in the Loretta land. We love it, but we do love our healthy food too. So how about you, Meghan? I'm sorry, Brighton. I'm sorry.
Um, I haven't put too much thought into like that, but just take things day by day. I just started working with my brother too, so just help him get into like life outside of like racing. It's a lot different. So just continue working and see where that goes.
Yeah, I think that's great that you're working with your brother. I think that's great. He's awesome and he's graduating a year early. And I'm sure you had something to do with
I can't
cheering him
hear
on. Oh,
for
you
some
can't hear
reason.
us? Can you hear us now?
Oh, I can't.
Okay. I'm sure you had something to do with encouraging Canyon to graduate early and being his cheerleader, right?
Yes, he is very excited too. I'll be at the ranch for his graduation, and I think it's 4 weeks now. But yeah,
Yeah.
he's really excited, and yeah, we can't wait.
Well, that's great. Well, I'm excited. That'll be a really great graduation. And how about you, Casey? Have you given thought about giving back, mentoring to others, or future goals? Any of that?
Yeah, I definitely think about what I want to do in the future, even post racing career. And I know even we've talked about flexibility and everything with on track, but it taught me a lot of discipline as well, just with being really busy with motocross and still having and getting that schoolwork done every single day. And yeah, and right now I'm just fully focused on racing, but after that, I'm not too sure what my path will hold, but I guess I'm gonna cross that bridge once I get there.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I mean, you're in it. And that is the 2, 3, 5 year plan, right? To take every one of those. But you know what? You've been so consistent. I get very excited when I watch races. That's what we do. You watch races every weekend. And you've been very consistent. And the discipline shows. And so does your resilience to be able to, just as a racing mom, I know a little bit, but being able to let go of certain things and move on to the next is super important in life, not just racing, right? when we all hit adversity at one point or another, like Caden said before, there's going to be mountains and valleys, right? So being able to get through that next thing is totally positive mindset. And that's super important that you all remember that no matter what stage of the journey, that you're on, to just continue to be lifelong learners and stay positive. And one specific way to stay positive is remember, that there's a God upstairs that you could talk to, and he's there to help support you all the time. Well, that's exciting. Well, those are the questions that I've had, but what would be kind of fun is to see if you guys, not to, I love putting you on the spot, right? But if you have questions for each other, I mean, you probably didn't know what you were all doing. I think we all know what Casey's doing, but you didn't know what everybody was doing. And we talked about, maybe having a place to get together. I know I'm here in the room, but do any of you have any questions for your fellow ambassadors that you want to ask before we open it up to a Q&A?
Yeah, I have one for Meghan.
Okay.
So with your food, do you have times that are best to eat it, or do you just like wing it? Here's your breakfast, here's your lunch, here's your dinner. What is your food zone portables like? What times are you most adamant about your athletes eating?
Yeah, that's a good question. I am taking a nutrition class, so I'm still learning everything. But I mean, I concentrate more on lunches. So I do recommend, like, that's what I'll cook for now. I will recommend to eat at 12 because it's really like the time where it's the good middle of the day, and you're not past it where you won't have more, like, not enough energy, and you're not too early, so you'll feel full. But yeah, that would be 12. I'd say 12.
Awesome. Casey, I have a question for you.
I'm ready.
What's it like getting a whole shot, brother?
It's actually, I'm sure you know how it is, and when you get a bad start at a pro national, I mean, it's hectic back there. So actually, getting a whole shot it makes it a lot easier, and you get out front and you're actually like, oh, I remember what this feels like, and it feels a lot more in control rather than when you're fighting for your life in 17th place and you have 8 guys around you trying to just pass you all at one time. So I'm sure you know how it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, start in the back too much.
I also have a question for Meghan as well. Like, since you said that you prepare or currently preparing like lunch for athletes and stuff, I was just wondering what does that like meal include for lunch that you're preparing?
Yeah, so it'll depend for like each client, because, for example, my my lady that lives in the community won't eat as much food as, for example, the professional dirt bike athlete I'm cooking for. So it'll really I really focus on proteins and carbs. So that'll be really the main stuff in it. So a lot of like chicken, not too much red meat because I learned it gives arm pump. It gives arm pump. Um, but really light proteins. Yeah.
Sweet, sweet.
Yeah. I have a question for Caden. Do you still race enduro?
I do a lot of GNCs here and there.
Oh.
That is tricky to fuel for. I typically put this high carb mix in my water pack, and then for 3 hours you just absolutely dig with a heart rate like 170 to 180. You bounce off trees. Think about it or not, you don't really want your elbows up in the woods because you hit everything. And then
Yeah,
there's
they don't move, huh?
no, they do not move. They do not move. I about broke all my fingers with the hand guards. It is a blessing though to get to do that aspect of it. Those dudes are gnarly. I'm not gonna lie, they are brutal. They sit a lot, which is super sick. Like you think moto, you're like stand up. I want as much control as possible, but you can really weave in those tight corners if you sit down and use the back brake.
I have a question
Brighton.
for Megan. Oh,
No,
you
go
can
for
go.
it. Go for it. Go for it.
I know you were talking about like lunch. How do you feel about breakfast? Like, what do you recommend for breakfast?
For breakfast?
Like
That is a good
meal prep
question.
wise.
That is a good question. I really like oatmeals right now because they're really easy and you can really put a lot of protein powder in it. Otherwise, eggs are really good. They're light and they won't like, because I know a lot of people don't like to eat before riding because they'll feel full. So I know proteins in oatmeal and really eggs are really my go-to right now. So, and fruits, to be honest, fruits, good energy.
I know Caden probably knows how it feels on a race day morning trying to get anything in your system. It is a struggle to eat, so anything you could get down is always helpful.
For sure,
And
for sure.
and
And you need
oatmeal,
that energy.
yes, and oatmeal I can usually get down pretty easy. It goes down pretty easy, but when you start bringing in like bacon and stuff, oh, it's tough.
I
For sure.
bet. I bet.
You definitely get crafty with it. Oatmeal's good for a season, and it's bacon and eggs, and you cook it every which way you can. Bagels with some cream cheese, trying to get everything you can out of it. Breakfast is a tricky one, for sure. Brighton, I have a question for you with the roofing, right?
Yeah.
So, do you purchase all your tiles ahead of time, or how do you measure out? And how do you use what you learned from
Um,
school to do that, or did you have to learn it outside of school?
Actually, it definitely helped math class. Just yeah, we have to measure each roof and then that way we know how much material to order. So I have to do it all ahead of time and like just knowing math helped a lot. So yeah, we order everything ahead of time. Someone has to measure and then we go from there.
Were you in Miss Ashley's life math class?
I was not.
Oh, you missed out. That was a good
I
one.
I don't think I was. I didn't even know that
Oh,
was a class.
well, that one we had to do a roof a while back, and between that and landscaping, I will say that class made the biggest difference for me
Yeah.
as far as calculating fences, just because it was simple math. Like it showed how to break it down into manageable numbers. And I had this algebra class in college. Um, Believe it or not, I can do algebra. I just, you got to turn those letters into numbers. That was where the metal hit the road on that one. Sparks flew, and my teacher was very patient with me.
Yeah. Yeah, so I had Miss Ashley for a math class. She was definitely my favorite. She helped me a lot through math. I needed it.
Casey, did you take music theory in high school?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, bro, you missed out. You missed out. I'll have the chance to take music theory, especially if you can get Justin Boyd, because you will learn all about the theories behind the tunes. That that one is it just makes you think a different way. I will say, at least in some of the college courses, like learning how to learn has been the biggest obstacle. Like because each teacher teaches a different way, and so that class really taught me how to find out what the teacher was teaching. Same in the sport of motocross. Like each team, obviously, I went to three in one season. Each team, wanted a different goal. Each team wanted ultimately um, a different kind of look. Like I remember with Phoenix, they really wanted the kind of just the golden boy look, but then with TLD they wanted the underdog, and then with HBI they just wanted somebody to do good. So like ultimately all around, like you just figure out what people want, how to read people, and I think the music theory class did a great job of that.
I think this is so fun, just having you guys have this conversation. Miss Ashley says that Caden, you should be advertising our classes. I'm watching the chat. Anyway, those are all great. Great. Isn't it fun to like get to, it's like a little reunion over here. Oh, it's great. And you learn a lot about each other and you can reach out to each other, you know, how to do that through social and support each other, you know, for what you're doing. And I am always here. You have my cell phone number. You know, I'm always approachable if you want to talk and share ideas. And I know some of you had, and we are, you know, looking, you know, to circle back and see what we can do. So we can continue this, or we can open it up for more questions or comments from our guests. What do you guys want to do? Do you have more questions for each other? Because that was fun.
I got a big one, but it might be goofy.
That's okay. There are no goofy questions.
Brighton, where you live, is it really hot? You say you do roofing. Them dudes are gnarly. It's really hot.
Yeah, today actually it was I think 107. And I had 2 crews canceled because it was just too hot to work. Yeah, it's really hot here right now.
Casey is getting
It
ready to
goes
go
back
to
and forth. Where's
and
he
it's
going?
really hot. Southwick, and the sand seems
Oh
to
yeah.
reflect the sunlight. So like that's a brutal one. I remember cramping up after my first moto. Get a good start, Casey. Got to
Yeah,
get a
I
good
was
start.
I was looking at the weather for it this weekend. Like yesterday there, it was like feels like 119, I think. And I was like, if it is gonna be that hot this weekend, people are not finishing. I'm like, there is no way. But it's gonna rain on Friday and bring in a little cold front. I think it's supposed to be like low 80s. So I think we might luck out.
Oh, thank God. Otherwise, I would say there'd be a state of emergency to be had somewhere. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. It's crazy to me that it's 107 up there and it's 87 here in Florida, and we're so much more south than where you're at. So amazing.
I was gonna see if Brighton knew any tricks because the roofers have all kinds of tricks on how to stay cool while they're up there in that that hot tar roof. And if Megan had any advice for my boy Casey, who's getting ready to just go dig that dog is coming out.
Yeah, I mean, the only tip I learned is hydration. I guess it's key.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
stay
but
as hydrated as possible. It'll be going the water will be going in and out of me. It'll be coming out as fast as it could probably go in.
And what about electrolytes? Do you use electrolytes in your water? There's so many ones out there right now. It's hard to know which one works for your body, but I believe in Celtic salt in my water. How about you?
yeah, I mean, everyone reacts differently, so there's no perfect diet. But what I've learned is really I like the liquid IV one a lot because it's not full of sugar and it has all the right stuff. But like I said, everyone reacts differently to those, so it's kind of you have to try it out and see which one works best for you.
Yeah, totally have to check that out. Well, guests, let's open this up and see if anybody has, you know, any questions that they want to ask you. I know that Miss Ashley is with us, so I'm seeing her face up there smiling as you're talking about her and her classes. And I'm sorry that we didn't know about world math, I mean life math, because I think that's so important, like checkbooks and just stuff, right, that we need to learn. So we're going to open it up. If you have a question, just come off mute or type it in the chat because we've got a few more minutes and we'd love to hear from you.
I don't have a question, but I put it in the chat earlier when we were talking about the events, and I don't know if you guys saw it, but a fun fact: Casey was the first prom king and the first homecoming king, I believe. Is that right, Casey? You hold that title, okay? And
I don't
then
know.
I
I don't know
believe
about the prom, but I remember the homecoming one.
Okay, I think you were. I think you were the first prom king.
May have
Um,
been.
yeah, and then I think Megan was the first homecoming queen, right? Is that right, Megan? Do you remember
Yeah,
at Minio's?
I think yeah, it was at Minos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Casey holds the record for most number of years enrolled with On Track consecutively. So Casey's got some pretty big titles and shoes to fill there, guys. But um, I definitely miss seeing all of you guys dressed up. You know, I think Caden came one year after we begged and begged and begged for him to finally show up. And then Brighton just knocked it out with her beautiful dresses and sunglasses, and Megan, same thing. And then Casey with his, um, what was it, the cheetah print, leopard print. I'll never forget that one. That's probably one of my favorite pictures. So definitely miss seeing you guys around, you know, like we used to. So, but it's really good to see you and hear that you guys are all doing really well.
Thanks for sharing that, Tasha. If I was quick, I could pull up that leopard jacket photo with, but I'm just not quick enough. I should have those things on the side, you know?
Yes,
People,
I could remember being so excited to go to that little homecoming for the first time. I went to like the nearest mall that they had right next to Minio's, and I was like trying on a bunch of different jackets, and I got that leopard print one, and I was like, yes, this is the one. And then I remember showing up. It was really, really fun, such a fun time. And then I think we actually took a picture of Megan and I together
I
because
think
we were
so,
the
yeah.
king and queen. So it's funny to see it all circle back. So.
yeah, yeah, that was really fun. You shopped for that jacket in Gainesville?
Yes, I was unprepared. I was last minute, and I went to the mall in Gainesville and got it, and ended up working out.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, the events have really taken off. Like people get very excited about it. This year, Tasha said, "Oh, they want to have cookies with Santa." And I said, "Oh my gosh, do you think we can handle another event?" It was like a Hallmark movie. These kids coming in and Samantha, Tasha's daughter, is making the hot chocolate and the music's on and Santa's up there. And so, we really do try and bring community, not just to, our students, but everybody that's invited to go to these things. So I love that. One future goal that we have is to actually have a class trip, whether we all go to Washington, D.C. or Cape Canaveral or somewhere, because it's so important to come and away from our computers and meet each other and do fun things like that. So yeah, those are fun times. And graduation's really fun. I mean, to think about the very first graduation, I think we had 3 students on there. And Natasha, how many graduates do we have? Just ballpark this year.
It's around 70 or a little bit more, a little bit more than 70, I believe. So,
Wow.
mhm. Yeah.
Super cool. Very cool. Anybody else have any questions, comments to share?
I do.
Hi,
If
Ashley.
Hi. First off, I am so proud of all 4 of you. I still remember exactly when I met each one of you, and teaching you were wonderful. Like, I couldn't have asked for better students. Like, we have the best students in the world. We really do. And you guys are on track school. The students are. And so, my question though, what advice would you give to the current students in on track school, ambassadors and not ambassadors, that you wish you had gotten from an alumni or an ambassador to help you prepare for school, especially as we're coming on to our new school year for next year?
They're thinking. It's a great question. I love it.
I would say just take advantage of having the community, like being able to go to the track and see all of your classmates and participate in all the events. It's nice to have that community. Even when you do graduate, you can still get in contact with everyone and you have that like family environment.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Brighton.
I would say try and find out what time you do your best work at when you're, mentally the sharpest, which is hard for a lot of athletes, but when you can really um, soak in as much as possible while learning. For me, that was in the morning, but for you, that might be a different time. Really, like a big sponge, just try and soak up as much as you can because you're learning a lot of things that'll take you far in life.
Very good. I have a
I,
story about that when we're done. I have a story about that. Thanks for that, Caden. Go ahead, Megan.
I would
Sorry.
agree with Brighton. I really agree, and just go to all the lives and go to all the groups we have, and it's so cool because after that you go to Minios and you're like, oh yeah, we did a project together, and I enjoy that.
I have a question for Casey. What is it like when Hayden Deegan's coming up behind you?
Um, yeah, it's happened one too many times, unfortunately. I'm not I don't get unfortunately he's passed me more times than I probably passed him, but yeah, he's obviously riding really well recently and it's tough. I mean, anytime I'm out there, especially in a pro race, if he does pass me, it's always kind of latch on and try and see what he's doing and try and see where we're losing time to him. So it's cool to race against the best in the world, though.
Do you know like when he's coming versus the other riders?
Yeah, you could tell whenever you race against a lot of the guys, you know when that star bike is behind you and he revs it a lot. So you can definitely tell when it's him because that thing's loud.
Awesome. Thanks, Casey. And thanks, Caden, for asking that. So, Casey, if there were any advice that you wish you were given, like Miss Ashley was saying, what would that be?
Yeah, I would just build on what Brighton and Megan said as well, because I know with a lot of online school programs, it's very hard to get that relationship with classmates and that social aspect of it. So, yeah, getting on the meetings and engaging with other students and then seeing them in person at tracks and races, you recognize people, you have more friends and more people to hang out with. So, I think it's that's a big part that you guys have done well and um, yeah, really just engage in that and then just I know especially if you're a racer or aspiring racer, it can be tough to do a long day of riding and then go home and do school, but it's definitely worth it and you're gonna learn a lot. And even on the days it gets hard, it's worth getting it done and it'll take you far. So yeah, that would be my advice.
Great advice. Look at you, wise grasshoppers. You're all grown up and giving this wonderful wisdom to these young people watching today. So thank you for that. And Ashley, that was a great question. I love that. Thank you for joining us and asking that. Anybody else with us have any other questions before we start closing out? We love questions.
I'll ask a quick question. So I don't know you students because I'm a new teacher at On Track. I did have your brother Megan last year, and he's awesome. So I'm just super impressed. You guys are awesome. I feel like our future is so bright. Listening to you guys, I'm like, holy cow, you guys, each one of you are amazing. Seeing your life paths and your drive and passion is just beautiful. I think my question would be, as a new teacher, what advice would you give to me and to the new teachers as to like something impactful that I could do for the students of On Track? I've heard, the things that Miss Ashley has done. So you can repeat those or say some new things, but yeah, I just want to hear from you guys.
The Lord gonna teach you some patience. Just keep loving on them kids. Just keep loving them. You're gonna do good.
Awesome.
That's a great question, Kristen. Thank you so much for sharing that perspective, and for joining us. I'm with you. I hear these stories of where our students have gone and I can get emotional about it. I think it's so exciting to see. And it's not just our ambassadors, it's like all of our students. go on and they do these great things and they know how to have conversations and engage with each other. You know, it's such a wonderful thing to see. So thanks for asking that. So any of you besides, I think Caden's answer is spot on too. Just keep loving the kids. I love that answer. But do Casey or Megan or Brighton, do you have any advice for Miss Kristen?
I mean, I know I really enjoyed knowing what my teacher liked to do on the side. Like I remember, I think Justin was racing quads or FTR, and I thought it was just so cool, and I was excited to go in his class because of it. So I would say like not only school and just talk about ourselves sometimes is cool.
Awesome.
I agree with what Megan said. It was nice like getting to know your teachers, and then even like if you were to go to a race and you see them, it's more personable, like you know them as a friend, not just as a teacher.
Awesome. Love it. I want to try to get out to the races because I'm like dying to meet some of the students, all the students. So thank you guys.
Thank you. So we'll reconnect. I know that Tasha has something she's going to share in just a minute, but we'll reconnect. We'll stay connected. I'm going to give you a homework assignment now. Think about what would it look like, and there's no rush because our next ambassador part 2, and it would be fun for you guys to join and listen to the next group of ambassadors go through the same questions, and that might actually help us form some kind of group to support you on your future paths in life. But start thinking about some ideas and what you think if you could build some kind of group like that, some kind of continued community. What would that look like? Because you guys have amazing ideas, and just shoot over some ideas in our group chat. You can do it, or to me personally, if you feel so inspired. But I really enjoyed my time. I really am so proud of each one of you for what you're doing. And I'm just super impressed. So thank you for that. And with that, I'll give it to Miss Tasha, who can close us out.
All right. Well, um, what is it they say? Ask and you shall receive. So here's some blast from the past. Does that look, anybody recognize that picture right there? Casey and Megan in the first inaugural homecoming dance as the king and queen. And then just one more real quick because I was able to pull these really fast. I think this was Caden. There's Caden right there in his class of the graduating class during the graduation ceremony. So
Thanks.
lots of memories. I'm going to get all emotional because you guys are like my kids too. I think I've been around, especially the four of you guys, for a long time, as long as I've probably been in the motocross community. I've known just about all of you. So super proud of you guys and hope you keep coming back.
Thank you, Tasha. That's amazing that you could pull that up. I will say those graduates would have looked a heck of a lot more excited if it wasn't like 100 degrees in a uniform in an auditorium with no breeze whatsoever. But thank you for pulling those up. And thank you all very much for coming. And we will be talking soon. So take care. Stay in touch.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.